I remember I could just be whoever I want to be around my grandpa. And then everywhere else, I needed to be someone else. I needed to fit in. I needed to be quiet.
Welcome to Fatherhood Voices, breaking the toxic cycle. Dive in as real dads bear all, the mess-ups, make-ups, and every heartfelt moment in between. It's raw, it's real, and it might just change the way you see family.
Welcome to another episode of Fatherhood Voices. And I'm excited to have one of my journey sisters here today, and it's Sara Fakhraei.
Fakhraei.
Well, she'll say it. And this is Fatherhood Voices, but we've had so many mothers now on and children that we're going to have to really look at this branding thing. But I'm excited because she brings a world of experience in her practice, not only coaching, but in a therapist for relationships. And I'm going to be curious to dive into what her perspective is, not only from just, I'm going to say the clinical aspect, but also just because she's been on her journey of spirituality. And it's a beautiful thing because when you mesh in all the academia with now being open to spirituality and meditation and Reiki, it really changes dynamics of the experience for the person. So, Sara, with that, thank you for coming on and being able to share your expertise as we dive into the relationship with not only your parents, but your father, and then how that panned out and carved into your journey into you now wanting to help people, and then how you are just bringing in a whole different aura of not just textbook academia, but just approaching it in a very holistic manner. So, Sara, welcome, and go ahead and introduce yourself.
Thank you, Edward. It's such a pleasure just being here with your amazing soul and just contributing something from the heart. Not about teaching anything. It's just an experience. And for me, it has always been an experience. I only went to school because I wanted to become a coach. And when I looked at to see, like, I need to have experience, the only thing I figured out was, like, if I really want to dive deep to this, why don't I go and get my master? I never wanted to be a therapist. I don't even call myself a therapist. I never liked actually schooling, to be honest with you, but like the subject was so close to home to me that it didn't feel like I was going to school. It was life. And for that, I never diagnosed anyone. I don't believe in diagnosis. That's why I again don't call myself a therapist. It's very existential. It's in soul level. Everybody's perfect wherever they are, whatever they're experiencing. We're just here for a journey to grow from every opportunity presented to just alchemize it to something amazing, whatever that is, to be able to find that spark that, like, I'm getting something from this, that childlike curiosity.
Now, childlike curiosity, you touched a nerve with me. Dive a little bit deeper because that's important, because when I think about the people that I've been helping and coaching and stuff, and it always goes back to the inner child. But when you say childhood curiosity, you're speaking my language. So can you expand on that a little bit? Because childhood curiosity, I think, is very important as we become adults and we've lost that. So I'm curious to get your perspective on that, Sara, because you really just, you've reverberated my heart or something, my soul.
I love that. That's why I just love this type of interaction, because all of a sudden just something that sparks us just like, wow. So this is how I experienced it. I don't remember when and how, but for me, I was always following up my grandpa. He was like, honestly, when I say he was very feminine. very feminine. He was silent, like it was safe. And I was just following him everywhere. If he was making something, if he was praying, if he was going to a walk and would just like talk with his friends, I was just observing how grounded he was, how connected he was. He had a garden of flowers. So when you say you lose it, we really don't lose it. We learn that is not okay.
Wow. Okay.
I'm going to get emotional through this, but it's okay. Um, every parents love their children. Like there's no way you don't love a part of yourself. However, we just have so much unprocessed emotions that the only way that they get out in a safe environment. That's why we do it with our very close people, with our husband, wife, and children or parents. Like this is a very safe dynamic that you allow yourself to be. However, we allow all of our resentment and angers get out. So I remember I could just be whoever I want to be around my grandpa. And then everywhere else, I needed to be someone else. I needed to fit in. I needed to be quiet. I needed to dress a certain way. I needed to not eat that. I had weight problems, and I looked back at the pictures. I wasn't like an unhealthy kid. I was really actually healthy, but there was always a problem because my mom had problem with food. So food was something that you're eating too much. Don't touch that. You're gonna get fat like your father. I was like, oh, my father is bad. What he does is bad, but I love my dad. So there was such confusion. Now I need to go and protect my dad.
Now, how did your grandfather know to give you that safe container? And was it just this is powerful right here because this right here, your grandfather gave you the safe container and he allowed you to be free. But outside, you weren't able to be who you wanted to be. How did he know to do that? And with that, what are some tools that fathers or even grandfathers can do? So it's a two-part question. One is how did your grandfather know? And two, what are the tools or best practices that a father or a grandfather can do to give that safe container? And I know it sounds like very oxymoron, very simple, but it's not. Because if more
First one, grandfather. Let's just start with the first one. How did he know? To be honest with you, I have no idea, but based on what I know about him, he lost his parents by age about 2. So he was an orphan, but they were very wealthy, very wealthy. So somehow they were raised with the aunt. The older brother was 12 years older. So by the time he was a man and he became a doctor, he was the one who was taking care of him. For whatever reason, I remember my grandpa was really interested in educating himself. Like when they came to United States, I remember he had these videotapes, not videotapes, sorry, these cassettes. And he would listen and literally write in Farsi in our own language and repeat. And he was very patient. He was invested in learning. And what I know about him was everybody told him that he did wrong because somehow he gave up all of that wealth because there was some animosity and betrayal. And he said, I don't want any of that. I'd rather to have peace. And because he decided that, his wife, his children all got really angry with him. But he had so much love to give. I was the last grandchild, and we lived in the same home. So he actually got to experience to be himself with me. Everything that he didn't get to have a space to experience with anybody else.
Wow, what a beautiful gift to have.
So I think it was like in soul level, we chose each other. And I'm going to dive to the soul level. We literally chose each other. So he got to experience being a child just free, absolutely free. Because as children, we are just here to experience. There's no good or bad, right or wrong. That is how that childlike experience that, you want to touch everything, you want to experience everything. And because you don't have any mental interpretation with fear, everything is good. It's just like a heart connection. How does it feel for me? If the child don't like a taste, they will not eat it. But say, no, you have to eat it. That was literally with my grandpa. If he didn't want to eat something, my grandpa would make him eat. But with me, we were just like, we were buddies. We were just rebels. Like, we just want to be here. So we created that container for ourselves for 12 years, though, only. That was the wealth of my life.
And how, now in comparison to your father, so your grandfather gave you that container, and then you said that your mother was more just the opposite. How was your father in comparison?
My father wasn't even present. Like, honestly, my childhood, I knew he was there. I have like glimpses of like he like hugging my mom, being there, but he wasn't there. He worked in another city. So I was literally raised with my grandpa. We lived in the third floor, they were on the first floor. But like I would get up, I was going where it was safe, where I could be myself, where it was happy. Because at home with dad was silent. He was the biggest avoider in the planet. He wouldn't talk. He always had this look and very serious. I didn't need him to yell at me. Just looking at him would make me cry. Because there was so much resentment toward life. He wasn't happy with that marriage. He didn't want to have children. He felt imprisoned. That's why he was never home. He had heart issues. He literally like had weight issue. He was big. He had a big belly. And now I understand that, wow, he was protecting his heart. He didn't know how to feel safe to share that because he didn't have room to be himself. So with the father, first of all, he wasn't present. Second of all, he always said, I don't have money. I don't have money. I would hear that every time my mom asked, would yell and scream, don't you understand? I'm like, he doesn't have money. So I don't ask a man for money because I love him. The child loves his parents. So I'm not going to ask. So I am going to save my money and protect my dad because I don't want him to get angry. I could feel his heart aching, crying. So I started protecting my dad. My grandma was protecting me from not getting hit from my mom. And then I was protecting my own dad. So,
Wow. You
yeah.
know, as you come across different clients in your work, and I'm sure you experience a lot of relationships where maybe they're not happy, but they do it for the kids. And that's a common underlying theme. What are some things that you share with
Mhm.
people in a marriage that are struggling, but they stay together for the kids, and how that impacts them? One, how it impacts. You said your father. It sounds like he was addicted to emotional eating, eating emotionally. That's the way he hid his pain. Uh,
Yeah. And you know what? He was actually a very chubby kid as well. So it just started very early in the age. So it just continued. Speaking of that, even though he wasn't happy, he wouldn't let go of that marriage. And now this is what I have compassion for. It's so easy to say, well, this is not working. Let's go separate ways. There is a sense of commitment for the man, especially the ones that they really feel responsible for what they did. Some of them just want to run as far away. Again, I have compassion for them because they don't know how to be around and how to connect. They feel not only trapped, but taken advantage of. They're missing something else from life. They reject this. So this type of man, I would say, is very responsible, has a sort of egoistic pride that I signed up for this. So for my reputation, because now I'm scared of getting judged from society. Oh, he left the kids. Oh, he all of that. Oh, so he was really scared of judgment. And this is present when I work with couples. I can see that when they really want to stay for the children. And most of them, when you ask them, it's like, I'm staying for my kid. I'm like, so this is the truth here for everyone. I was 9 when I remember that they were deciding to divorce. And that didn't happen until I was 25. So as a 9-year-old, I was so angry with them because there was so much toxic exchange all the time. And I was the one who would get hit with it. Either I can't make your mom happy, so you have to make your mom happy, or you're just like your dad, or I don't want you to become your dad. So I was part of that. Forget about just hearing the arguments and the vibration, that sad vibration that they would carry around. So for me, age 7, I wished my parents would be divorced. So at least there was peace. So I could actually spend with one, being happy, being away from this one, and I spend time with the other one, being happy, being away from this one. So age 9, I literally stood up when they were debating to divorce or not, and family was not letting them. And this is where you go to family and family, for the sake of children. I got out and said, I yelled actually. I remember that moment. I yelled and said, why don't you just get divorced and be over with this? I am done with this.
at 9 years old.
9. 9.
So this raises a very important question. When a mother and father are feeling like that connection's not there anymore and then contemplating wanting to get a divorce, let me get your perspective.
Mm.
Should they involve the children and let them know that this is what mom and dad are thinking? Or should they shelter it and try to keep it behind closed doors? Because I know regardless, children are resilient. Children see what's going on. Children feel. So what are your thoughts on that? Because, this right here, this topic is what thousands of families are going through right now.
Yes.
Someone's going to see this and go, I'm going through this right now. Do we let our children know, or do we just keep it behind closed doors?
Okay. Let me take it one step back.
Okay.
It's a start with each partner. Most of the time, they are not ready to let go. So when you are fully confident in your decision, when you're fully confident in your decision, when you have integrity for yourself, for the word and the promise that you make to yourself, because this is not only just destroying my body and soul, but it's impacting everyone around. So it starts with me. You've got to make a decision for yourself. It must serve you. Why? Because if you go out of this marriage, you still carry that resentment, the guilt. What did I do to my children? Why did I broke it out? Like, there is a subconscious fear and guilt and shame that always will carry. Like, you will carry with you. It will come with you. It will not go anywhere. So the only time that you actually share with your children is when you make peace with it. That, you know what? I know this is the right decision at this very moment. At this very moment, I am willing to ask for support, because you must be open to receive support. This is not something to just go alone, any type of support. So this is a time to open up to receive. This is a time that you allow your feminine energy to be present. Then you bring it to the children as, I want you to let you know that when you are in a relationship, you come together for an experience. And it's all about growing together, experiencing more happiness, more love. It might be challenging, but you always remember that I have the power to learn and grow in this. And sometimes it's okay that you don't know what to do and you ask for help and you just decide that, what actually do I need in this very moment for me? It's going to be a transition, but you don't need to worry about anything. You don't need to worry about anything. I will give you all my love. I will give you anything that you need. So you just trust that peace. This is how it's going to be look like. And then you ask the child, how do you feel about that? You always open room for the child to be able to come forward and express, because children are a part of you. They experience what you're going through and their life is changing, for God's sake. So it's not just telling them. You are literally making a decision that's going to change everybody's comfort zone. So now they need to grow too.
You know, this is powerful because one of the things that I do look for when I'm doing podcasts is to create these 2 or 3 PDF summary sheets on best practices. And you've just unraveled one, and it's going to be called At This Moment. And let me tell you why. And I'm going to probably ask for your help in crafting it because we want to offer free resources and tools. What I'm hearing you say is when you finally involve your children or even your significant other, it's in this moment. But that moment can also shift
Huh.
because you talk about experiences. So at this moment, this is how I'm feeling. This is where we're feeling. But to also have that safe space to be able to say, well, just because I said me and your mom are getting a divorce, that's how we're feeling in this moment.
Mhm.
But it doesn't mean that that's the final. Because, like you said, our relationship is a journey. So if it's a journey, there's going to be highs and lows, there's going to be ups and downs. So I almost feel, well, I feel it at the core because this has been beautiful. This worksheet of in this moment is going to be able to now have open-ended questions for the
Yeah.
children. How do you feel about your father? How do you feel about your mother? How do you feel about us being together? And not that, you know, yes, the children are an important piece of the puzzle, but ultimately it's up to the mother and father to make that decision. What's best for the journey, the experience for the family component, the unit as a whole.
Exactly. Where
So
everybody matters.
I love that.
Everybody matters. So I want you to think about as whenever you're ending a relationship,
Wait a minute. I just kept at this moment, everybody matters. That's what it's
everybody matters.
everybody
And
matters.
whatever decision you're making, it is for the greater good of all.
Mm,
It starts with me. So saying, Mama needs this at this moment to feel at peace. Mama needs this at this moment to be able to find herself and figure it out. Mama or dad need this to just like sort things out for the better. For better. It's always for better. To be able to actually see that this is not an ending of disaster versus if we cannot figure it out like this, we are going to go like this, figure it out. So so the relationship will change from romantic maybe, but there is an opportunity for these two partners to grow separately, to find themselves. So they get to actually contribute that to the relationship, to a new relationship where you got to, first of all, start working on yourself. And partner just like, okay, let me make notes.
wow. No, this is powerful right here. Matter of fact, it's so powerful that I'm going to do something I never done. Is it's okay. I'm gonna grab my tripod and I'm gonna shoot on an Instagram live to just grab some of this because you're dropping some wisdom here, and I want people to get a peek at what this podcast is going to be about.
May I tell you something? You said wisdom, Edward. It's super important in this healing journey. One of the things that I connected with is Divine Mother, and I call it Divine Feminine Alchemy Wisdom. So when I said I am not teaching, when you are so connected, then you allow what is going to help for the greater good of all, that your heart will actually connect with. You can hear it. There is medicine in it. That is that wisdom.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful because the way that you articulate it, the way that you allow everybody to have a safe container, a safe space, I honestly feel it's going to minimize the amount of chaos
Mhm.
and fights and verbalization that's happening when a household is being faced with the potential or the possibility of separation. Because unfortunately, what happens, and I'm sure you can attest to this, is that everybody takes a side, and it shouldn't be about sides. It should be about, like you said, it's about everybody. It matters for everybody. And that right there is powerful because just the way that you articulate it, it really it starts to take away the division. It takes away the division.
This is a really
Wow.
essential point, Edward. As I always go back to my experience because I believe like I have felt that. It's not about the textbook. You've got to experience something to be able to actually share it. So this is from my experience. I was 25 when my parents finally just decided to go for the divorce. And I remember, even though I was an adult, but a part of me was breaking to half. So I worked so hard to make peace between them because it was so difficult to just not have both of them. But I needed to understand, like, you know what? I understand. I don't expect you to be in it, but I need you to be peaceful together. I need you to be able to show up together in I don't know, in an occasion. I
Mm.
need you to respect one another. I need to feel safe because I love both of you. And I can't be in this dynamic back and forth. Now imagine a child. So taking responsibility to know that I have the power to figure this out somehow. And this is not happening against me. There's something here for me to learn and grow. This person is not my enemy. They are not here to take my life away. Once you are so grounded in your power, no one can touch you. You actually turn that, alchemize that to a different experience.
Wow. A lot of medicine in this. A lot of medicine. Yes, I am. I don't want to miss this moment, so I appreciate you. Um, let me ask you a question. In your work with couples, and in particular with the kids, what is a common something that just it's a common denominator that always shows up that you're seeing? Um, because you know the hardest
Oh,
that
control.
control.
There is always some sort of control. And it's either mother, father, both of them, the child, all of them together.
Mm.
It's that power control dynamic that it's always present when there is an unhealthy relationship.
So control is the big one. And how does that show up for the children?
Again, you can't be yourself.
Mm,
Manipulation,
manipulation.
how to use your power viciously. It's not like it's not an honorable, grounded expression. You need to figure out tricks, or it's basically like mind game or physically. Either you need to physically be strong to protect yourself, either with your mouth, with the voice. So a certain type of voice is just going to make them just like crash for you. Cry. That is the way that we use for manipulation and the mind games.
Now, you know, something that happens quite often is the children want the parents to get a divorce because they feel unsafe or they're tired of the physical abuse, emotional, the psychological. Now, what happens when the children see that it's not a safe space, but yet the parents are still kind of stuck in their ego? And I don't know if that's the right word. How do you, is counseling the right word? How do you now?
Advice guide. Show them the way.
And
It is beyond this. And I don't know. Like, I think we can just have years of this conversation and it's just going to be beautiful. Let's go again one step back.
okay,
It's not a what to do, but what to understand first.
okay,
When you are in that toxic dynamic, both partner needs two things: personal power and love. With love as, would you accept me the way I am?
will you accept me the way that I am?
Just the way I am. If I don't change a thing, Do you have enough compassion, understanding to be able to relate to my pain? That why do I do the way I do? And be able to allow me to have my own reality, my own needs, my own wants. That is love. Accepting, honoring, loving me, and being able to forgive me if I can't give you what you want.
Being able to forgive someone if they're not able to give them what you want. But how do you overcome that? So if I have these expectations, okay, so
Healing journey.
here,
You
Sarah,
got to go to the healing journey.
okay,
It's
so
not overnight. It's not a decision. It's a learning process. It's a growth process. Our heart, and I'm talking about like literally the electromagnetic field of energy that comes out of this little thing on your, like literally like the center of your body. Whenever we experience fear, this one falls off. This one goes like literally like so big that it can be global. So the metric system, it can like literally be unlimited. As soon as you get scared, you close this one. So when you close this, you don't feel safe with anyone. So being able to start understanding this, everything starts from this. Do I feel enough for just being myself? First of all, who am I? What do I want out of life? Most of us, we don't even know what do we want. We get married, forget about getting married. We go to a relationship because we are running away from our parents.
wait a minute. We go to a relationship because we're running away from our parents.
Yeah. Or this is one of them.
Wow.
So you are seeking the love that you didn't get from your parents in this partner. So now go and figure out your relationship with your parents, and you actually see, wow, there's so much pain there. There's so much distrust there.
And when you're running into somebody else's arms because you're seeking the love that you didn't get from your parents, now what happens when they don't provide it for you? Because that's what happens. You leave, you run from your parents' arms into somebody else's arms, man or woman, and now that person has their own journey that they're on,
Exactly.
and you don't receive it. So then what?
So
And this is before kids are even in the mix. This is just you starting this relationship, seeking out validation, seeking out what your parents couldn't give you because your parents have got you all fucked up. Excuse me, sorry. Um, and now you run into someone.
with compassion toward every parent, they have done what they knew. What they knew.
Yeah.
But hey, one more thing right there. Even the parents who like do a lot of good for their children, they have a peaceful home. They have like the mother is very loving and present. The father provides. Still, the children can actually turn out, and I'm talking about over 98%. Like I'm very generous right now. So now imagine if you actually just lived in trauma. Okay. So understanding that I need, again, two things. It starts with these two: love, personal power. Personal power is where I would actually feel safe that my present, my existence is honored because I am here to do something that only I can do, whatever that is. There's something unique about you. And we keep searching for that. So you go to another relationship where you have another chance to get that. Now, if you don't get to have this with this person, this is deep. I think we need to have like 10 episodes on this.
We probably do.
There are two things. First of all, don't get angry at them. Understanding that they have their own needs, that their own visions, their own dreams. It starts with a friendship. We jump into a sexual intimacy because that is the first thing that we feel accepted. That is very physical level. There's no soul involved. It's all hormonal. Because this person is new. This person has not told you anything that doesn't allow you to be you. It's childlike. Everything is fresh. That's why you want to keep this, because it sounds safe in a moment.
Let me ask you a question. So now you have a couple that's in a relationship, and one person is not making the other person feel safe.
Mhm.
So then,
What do you mean by that one person is not making another one safe? Can you give me an example?
let's say maybe that person doesn't feel like you're there for them, or that you're not emotionally connected,
Okay.
or how, and so that other person, they so now one person is giving attention, love, their time, their attention, and yet the other person is checked out, and now they're seeking outside emotional support. They're seeking validation from other people, men or women. They go and they cheat on their significant other. They um, you know, just a combination of things, not being emotionally connected anymore. They've checked out. How do you, because, and then now it impacts the kids because
We are okay, hold on. You're going too far. This is with the kids or before the kids, because this is what we need to figure out before the kids.
I think this is for the relationship first, and then how you address it with the kids, because whatever happens in the relationship, it's gonna impact the kids.
Okay. So now we're talking about families. Perfect.
Yes, families.
Most of us are not only scared, but we don't know how to say, not even ask, to say what I want, what I need, because we are not sure if that is allowed. Again, remember, we don't feel safe and secure to be ourselves. So being able to have confidence, like literally, like integrity for yourself, acceptance and honors for your own needs, to be able to say, I am not happy. I am not feeling safe with that. This is agreeing with me. I love this. I am. This word is very powerful. That is literally you be present with your soul. I am present. It's like your personal power. Once you can actually say, I am, and that is where the forgiveness comes. It's okay if you cannot give it to me. But I need in life, in this life, I need this and this and this, and know your dreams to be able to experience those. How can we, this is where you move from your I to V, literally Venus. Venus is the planet of love, to come to the heart and say, okay, team up. So you are not standing in front of this person fighting. It's like I, and then you come right next to them. That is where you create safety. That is where you ask them, how do you feel about that? What do you think about that? So if you are saying, I need this, the other person needs to say how they feel about it. So understanding the dynamic between receiving and giving. So that person would feel safe with your presentation. So they can listen, they can take it in, and they can sit with it. You don't have to respond right away. Allow yourself to just digest it. And then allow the other one to come back and tell you how they feel, what they think that can happen. Again, feeling safe that whatever you hear is not going to just like be another trigger. This is what I need to feel at peace. This is what I need to love myself. This is what I need to accept myself, honor myself. And learning how to do it together. Compromise. Healthy compromise.
So is it safe to say that the secret, and this is a loaded question, is it safe to say that the secret to a relationship, whether it's a relationship towards man and woman or towards your children, the number one component, because this is what I'm getting from this, the most important thing in a relationship is making someone feel safe?
And you can only do that if you feel safe with yourself.
Okay, please expand on that. Please expand on that, because that is powerful right there. Because if the secret potion, the secret ingredient to any relationship with children or with your partner is being safe, but now what do you mean? You have to be safe with yourself, because that
That is the beginning of connection with unconditional love. When you are in the womb of the mother, you feel absolutely safe. You're in this tiny, tiny space. You don't need to go anywhere. Everything is provided. Everything that you need, and you're not thinking even. That's how that safety is built. You literally are held, supported. You are in a space of surrender, allowing yourself to grow. So when we talk about self-love and self-worth that creates safety, the personal power, that is where you feel, I can have this. That is human power. I can have this. Being able to understand that there's nothing wrong with wanting something. There's something behind it that I need to actually dive deep. Does it come from love or lack of love? Does it come from love or fear? So when you feel safe to say, this is not working for me, just that, this is not working for me. I can't breathe. And then if the other person actually feels safe, it's like, oh, she cannot breathe. This is not working for her. So you get to ask a question. What do you mean by that? That is where we allow exploration. That is where you feel safe to dive deeper. This is the existential part. When we have a dyadic safe conversation, is when you see a part of yourself in this person, which wants to be heard, seen, understood, loved, accepted, honored, forgiven.
So what you're telling me is you can make someone feel safe, but if they don't feel safe within themselves,
They will fight back.
and that's where the problems start. No
That's it.
matter what a person does, you can do everything. You can give them the moon, the world, But if that person doesn't feel safe, there's nothing the other person can do.
And that is why we say healing journey, because then you've got to learn how to create that safety for yourself.
And now I'm going to bring that back because in it's important for the relationship side.
Mm-hmm.
Now fast forward and we look, now you bring children into the picture.
Mm-hmm.
And now if you don't offer them that or let's say you do offer them that safe container, but because of maybe experiences or trauma points that they've had, a child, you may offer them a safe home, food on the table. You may give them all the luxuries of life. But if there have been those trauma points that the child doesn't feel safe,
Mm-hmm.
no matter what a parent does, it's going to be
I
difficult.
mean, this is super important for every mother and father. Money does not mean love.
Money does not mean love. Money does not mean love. Because I showed love to my kids by buying them things, but I was never there because to me, it was always, being in business for myself. It was always making more money, grinding. Um, and the way I substituted my lack of involvement, my lack of being there physically, mentally, emotionally, is they always had the latest gaming system, the dollhouse, the pool. But it,
Because you because you had no idea how to connect with them from the heart. The the way that you felt worthy as a man is to make money and provide. So I am good at that. That's where I can give myself that safety and like love that I'm a good father. I can give, but like that was what you knew. But like not being able to share this because I never been touched with that love. And that hurts because I feel men's, honestly, the grief that they carry, the anxiety that if I don't do that, I'm not worthy. I'm a piece of what? I'm a man. I need to provide. And I'm so anxious and focused on that. I never learned that my existence is enough. I never felt free to be me. There are so many men that have creative expression, maybe dancing, singing, cooking, just connecting. But there was no room for that. You have to make money. Well, if you feel worthy, if if you feel loved to be yourself, you will figure out who you are to generate abundance, wealth with that. And then that is unlimited because you are so open to share that because you love creating that because that's you. But then you're not so focused. You can have it all. I've been crying at this because honestly, we are missing what we need as humanity most, which is that love. And just looking at every couple that come to me, they're so focused on making money. And all of their struggles happens because they are so disconnected from their heart because they don't know how even to be themselves. It's impossible. When you tell them the possibility, they're like, yeah, that sounds good. But where are you? That's why you need to start giving yourself 20 minutes a day. Just see to it yourself. Allow yourself to feel the pain in your heart, to remember what you want out of life and you have missed the opportunity, and allow yourself to experience that. I don't know how did we get here. It's just like downloads coming and it just
a big part of it was just because the relationship between a man and a woman, and I'm just going to say parents, the relationship between parents is of the utmost importance, because how that relationship shows up in the family is going to dictate, is going to now show the journey of the children. Because if there's chaos in the relationship between the mother and the father, there's going to be chaos with the children. And we can sit here and we can talk about, well, what are things that, how I don't show up as a father, or how a mother doesn't show up. But it almost becomes irrelevant when you put the two together, and now you have the mother and the father in the mix. And when there's fighting, when there's yelling, when there's screaming, when there's unhappiness, how can the kids not suffer?
Everybody suffers.
Everybody.
Everybody suffers. There's no way out of that. Energetically, we are all in it.
Even
And
the dog suffers. The animals suffer because they don't get the attention. It just had this epiphany. Dogs, the pets get yelled at because they pee in the house. They don't get love. They don't get attention. They don't get walked. Everybody suffers. The family suffers. The kids, the children. If you have, in-laws that live with you, mothers, fathers, everybody suffers.
Like everybody's sick. And they all like so focused on like, take them to doctor. Hey, come back here. All the stress out of the fear of surviving in this life, surviving in this relationship, not feeling grounded to be yourself causes all of that. And then we just smack the kid like, why don't you have a good grade? Why you are inconvenienced for me? Now I have a lot of things to do. Now you are inconvenienced for me. By the way, I witnessed that with my brother. That's why I was the good kid. And everybody was just, oh God, she's easy. They didn't know I wasn't scared to not be easy. I needed to be perfect.
We could go on for another couple hours, but in the essence of time, I'm going to ask a final question, and then I think there's going to be a part two. There's going to be a part two because there's a lot of wisdom that's just being disseminated. So I don't know if you have the answer to this question. When there's chaos or problems in the family component, mother on father, and then also the children not getting along with the mother or the father. So I'm just going to say chaos in the family unit. And they come to you to seek out some solutions or best practices. Where should the family start? Should the family start first with the mother and father dealing with their issues?
Always.
Okay, so not the children's act.
Is the product of you.
Okay.
The children are just reflecting what you cannot see about yourself.
The children
follow you
in what you cannot see within yourself. So let me take that in for a minute. The children are just reflecting what the parents cannot see within themselves.
Wow. The children are here to help us grow. The children are here to help us grow. When we give birth to a child, because that is the only way we get to experience that unconditional love for the first time, because that child is pure. There's nothing between the two of you. They are purest form of you, where you get to feel connected, like literally, emotionally, physically, like you're literally one, especially with the mother. And you get to have that skin to skin. That's why it's very intimate relation. It is a very intimate relationship that for the first time, every person gets to experience. Now for the father, it's so important to be around and have that connection too. That's why you need to be around and Be with the kid, because that kid will help you to get grounded. Their energy is going to help you to remember how to be at peace and ease. And this is enough. That is the moment when you have your child on your chest. This is enough. I don't want to go anywhere else. And then you remember how to create that for yourself. Until the moment the child become inconvenience again. They need time from me. They need money from me. They need food from me. The first 3 months are easy. Everything is provided. You have a connection. That's why I say, learn to grow with your children. Learn to allow yourself to have childlike experience with them. Don't control them. Learn, be observant, be present. Be present. They have no problem to ask for what they want, and know that you have everything to give them because it comes from your heart. But this is where I say money is not love. For a child, you just need to hold them tight. The mother in the beginning has all the food. The child does not need food when it's born. It needs that connection. When it comes out of the body, you've got to put it back here. We are hungry for that connection and that love, and that's why we suffer through every relationship. So when the parents come, I connect them with themselves. I show them who they are. We take different assessments to show their strengths. Who are you? How do you build relationship? What is your execution skill? What is your influential communication strengths? Who are you? Because it's different from one. I believe in over 33 million you are that unique. To be able to see yourself and oh my God, I show you your inner critic with the honestly with the assessment. What is that sabotaging voice that doesn't let you to actually show up for yourself? So it's always starts with you understanding yourself. And only when you understand that, then, okay, what is your karmic relationship? What is the lesson that you are here for? Because you are here to help each other grow too. And it doesn't have to be stay together forever. You can only stay together forever once you decide to grow together, look internally, and start the work, the healing work. And you have a common mission in life. If you want to live in Hawaii, the other one wants to be in Middle East, you don't have same mission. Your dreams are so apart. So understanding what you want out of life, what do you want to co-create together? Maybe that's just a beautiful, happy family. Okay, then just double check. Is that all I want? Some people want more than that, but they're scared of sharing it because they don't allow themselves to want anything but marriage, being a father, being a mother. You are here for a purpose. Start asking yourself, what am I here for? And that the journey starts for the greater good of all in that relationship.
Thank you for those beautiful words. And now, as we bring a close to this episode, it's interesting how we started with just your experiences, but then we really got to the core of relationships with our children. It starts with the family component. It starts with the family component between mother and father. And with that, I hope that the audience definitely gets some beautiful wisdom and takeaways, because this went a lot deeper than I was expecting. We didn't just scratch the surface, but we went deeper into the relationships and how a relationship between a man and a woman, a mother and a father, is going to impact a child, not only in their early years, but also as they go into adulthood. With that, Sara, thank you for um, being vulnerable, for offering a safe container to be able to share as we ask uncomfortable questions. And yeah, this is another episode of Fatherhood Voices.